May sounds pa eh.
Here comes Santa Claus, right? Now Santa.
Morning po, sir.
Yeah, Merry Christmas everyone. Good morning. I hope you can hear me and hear me well. Anyone who
Yes,
can confirm?
sir. We can hear you po.
Okay, thank you. So our friends from the media, magandang umaga sa ating lahat. No? I know that a number of you may already be on your Christmas break, but we want to be able to provide you with some materials for you to work on during this period and continue your reportage on the energy sector. So first, I am indeed proud and happy to introduce to you our Undersecretary who is assigned in to the sector that you love most, which is the power sector. And this is Undersecretary Rowena Guevara. I think a number of you or all of you are familiar with her when she served as the Undersecretary for the Department of Science and Technology in various capacities and handling quite a number of things in that department. And for those of you who have known her well, so she has enjoyed a sterling reputation as not only being professional but also being very efficient. That allowed the Department of Science and Technology to cut down the number of days for processing requests for various forms of research assistance and proposals from the Department of Science and Technology. So we in the Department of Energy welcome her warmly, and for today you would be able to ask her a number of questions. I will just focus on a number of points that I would like us to share not only with you but with the public at large. And so the first is that we are announcing today that the Malampaya Deepwater Gas to Power project will have a scheduled maintenance shutdown from February 4 to 18, 2023. And as you have known, for those of you who have been in the industry over the last 2 decades, you know that this is a regular maintenance activity that is closely coordinated not only with the department but with all the other relevant stakeholders. And that includes, of course, Meralco, which is being supplied by natural gas from the gas plants that Malampaya fuels, and the Malampaya Consortium itself, which is going to have to undertake the maintenance work, and with the owners of the natural gas powered plants,
Facebook Live, bro.
including First Gen and the Ilihan power plant of SPPC. So we want to make sure that not only that these are operated or the maintenance work is going to be undertaken, but that because of the maintenance work, the facilities, both the platform and the pipeline, are continue to be operated in a safe, reliable, and efficient manner. and the plants as well
continue to be operated in a safe, reliable, and efficient
that are being
manner.
supplied. So
And,
during this period,
the
the supply of gas will temporarily stop, and will lead the power plants to switch to alternative sources of fuel. And of course, we in the department have been working with all the parties concerned on contingent measures that would ensure a steady supply to the grid in Luzon. So that's the first one, and what is this? I will. Of course, we in the department have been working address your questions on this. The other one that I wanted also to emphasize was that we have given you, I think, materials on the contingency plan, the National Energy Contingency Plan for the big one. Now, this is the private sector which led this effort has emphasized to me the importance of this particular activity. Because from their point of view, first, it's the first sectoral contingency plan that has been done and finished and presented, so that it will be guiding all our stakeholders again. So they have provided these maps, and they have given me copies of these maps as well. So whether they are for the power, for oil and gas facilities, or for power plants, they are all contained in the maps that have been prepared, as well as for this contingency plan for the big one itself. Now, the second point about this that I wanted to stress is that this is a continuing work that was actually started even before this administration came in. And we want to stress the continuity and the institutional commitment of the Department of Energy in working with everyone concerned. And then third, as I've said, we would like to thank not only the other government agencies that have participated, but also the private sector, primarily the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation that has worked with us over the years, and of course the private sector that has the control and ownership of most or almost all of the upstream and downstream facilities of energy facilities in Luzon. So this is one particularly important example of how the private sector assists government, and how government can essentially coordinate the work, and it is not in the form of coercion, but it is really a form of coordination on the part of government, because we know that private sector is a major participant in this effort. So my congratulations and thanks to them. On DOE's part, I have thanked Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella and his team for working on this. Our task force on energy resiliency has done an impressive job. I have seen them work during especially the natural disasters that have occurred in the second half of this year. Several typhoons, including a super typhoon, and earthquake. So these are the things that we've had to respond to in the past. And again, the task force on energy resiliency has been able to respond because of the close coordination and cooperation with the private sector. You have seen that. Well, I can tell you that when I was first here in the department and we experienced typhoons and super typhoons, it took us actually several months to be able to restore energy in most parts of the country. But happily, with the strong participation of the private sector, despite all, there will still be problems and challenges along the way. We were able to hurdle the restoration, the challenges of restoration. So that's the second point that I wanted to stress. And later, what is this? I would also like to re-emphasize what I have said yesterday about energy efficiency and conservation. That especially with the challenges that we face, and that would include the Malampaya shutdown, as well as the challenges brought about by the summer months that are coming with our mega hydro plants in Luzon not being available as during the wet months. Then we will have to emphasize energy efficiency and conservation, not only in terms of ensuring that there will be continued supply, but also as a coping mechanism for everyone to deal with the high prices that are normally associated with this developments. So may I request now Undersecretary Gev Guevara to say her piece, and then we can open this for your questions.
Thank you, Secretary. The Secretary mentioned about what's going to happen in February with the scheduled maintenance of Malampaya Deep Water Gas to Power Project. And to ensure the continuous supply of power in February, the department is working with all concerned parties on several contingency measures, including the following. First is the designation of must-run plants. Must-run means the concerned power plant must supply electricity to the grid under all conditions. Second, close coordination with Meralco, other distribution utilities, and retail electricity suppliers to activate and expand the Interruptible Load Program, or ILP, to help soften the impact whenever supply deficiency and power interruptions are imminent in the grid. Third, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, to accelerate completion of the transmission lines in Luzon grid and implement a day ahead, 6 p.m., announcement of red and yellow alerts. Fourth is to encourage large users for own use generation. And lastly, pursue an accelerated campaign for energy efficiency and conservation for industrial, commercial, government, and residential consumers, as mentioned by the Secretary.
Yes, I forgot to mention that Dr. Guevara, of course, holds a PhD in electrical engineering, and has served as department chair, right? And later dean of the College of Engineering at the University of the Philippines before she was pirated by government to serve in various capacities. So she was initially appointed to the Transmission Corporation of the Philippines, TRANSCO, and she has formerly assumed as Undersecretary of Energy. Okay, so maybe now, Andrea, we can open the floor for discussions or
Okay.
questions. Sorry.
Good morning, everyone. For our first question, there is a question here in the chat box. What is the supply forecast during the Malampayan shutdown?
Oh,
Would you want to? Well, definitely, as you know, the what is this? The plants that we have, and that's the plants that are supplying to what is this? That are being supplied from Malampaya, and that's around 3,000 100 something megawatts. And what is this? Those which will be able to run on alternative fuel will be running. So as you know, it's not a case that they will all be down during that time, but that a number will which cannot accommodate what is this? Which cannot run on liquid fuel will not be able to run. But Yusek,
siguro if I may add, rather
yes.
than giving you the total, we have already done the forecast for the next year. We had the conversation with the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines yesterday, and we could see that there's generation margin in February. So we are not worried about this part, but we're more worried in summer. So starting April up to July, that's when we are a little bit worried. And so rather than saying kung magkano yung total, we can say that we have enough generation margin for the month of February, even when Malampaya is down.
Okay. Any questions? Alvin, you have a question?
Naririnig ako?
Yes.
No, I don't hear you, Alvin.
Hi, Sec! Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Yes.
And for you, Sec, also, I don't know who wants to answer. So we may have enough power supply, but what are the cost implications? Because some of the plants are going to
Hi, Sec.
more expensive. Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Yes. Of course,
And for
that
you,
is
Sec, also,
the
I don't know who
usual
wants to
challenge
answer.
we have.
So
And
we
you
may
know
have
that,
enough
Alvin, right?
power supply,
Each time we shift
but what are the
to-
cost
to,
implications? Fuel, right?
alternative fuels. It's the usual challenge we have. And these cost more than Malampaya natural gas. So that's why we want to be able to emphasize the importance of energy efficiency and conservation. Tips that would what is this that would help our consumers deal with the usual. These are the usual costs associated with the use of liquid fuels. And as you know, it also comes at a difficult time when oil prices are high internationally or globally, and there's not much that we can do to soften that. But there are steps that actually individually and collectively we can do to help bring down the our respective consumption, and therefore minimize the increases for the consumers.
Can I have two more?
Yes, Alvin.
Two more, Sec, so are we asking the public to brace? Tagalogin ko na nga para kailangan ko soundbite na Tagalog eh. Ibig mo bang sabihin, pinapahanda mo na ang consumers na okay lang, hindi tayo magkaka-brown out, pero ihanda nyo ang bulsa ninyo dahil malamang tataas lalo ang singil sa kuryente?
Well, we have to, what is this? We have to deal with that. Right now, what's this? It is difficult even for Meralco to say what will be the
Price
final
impact.
price. No? So, but as we have seen in the past, there is an increase because nga mas mahal yung alternative fuel. So over the 20-year life of Malampaya so far, we've had several of these maintenance periods. At nalampasan din natin yung temporary na mga pagtaas na ito, no? So we pray and hope that the international prices of liquid oil fuels will go down further in the next year, or in February and in the summer months, so that we can tide over the country or Luzon, what's the Luzon grid in particular, over this the summer months.
One last, sorry. One last, sir. O, okay pa ba? Mag-last pa ako o tapos na ako?
Yes, Alvin, last question.
Yeah, one last. Actually, Sec, I doubt that kasi ang China magre-rebound yan eh. Pero anyway, that's another issue. For you, Sec Guevara, wala na po bang chance na i-cancel muna natin or i-delay muna natin yung scheduled maintenance shutdown? At ano ang repercussions if we do not push through with the scheduled shutdown in February?
Alvin, kailangan na talagang gawin yan siya maintenance kasi dapat ginawa na yan noong October pa. Kaso, hindi nagawa dahil madami tayong COVID travel restrictions at that time. But this time, it has to be done. Kasi din, pagka dinelay mo pa, pag inabot naman tayo ng summer, baka hindi na siya mandar the way it's supposed to run. Remember, number one nating priority is safety, reliability, and efficiency. Pag hindi na-maintain, nagkakaproblema talaga. So, non-movable na yan.
Salamat po. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Isek. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, yes. Merry Christmas, Alvin. And I just wanted to add, Alvin, in talking with our officials in the previous administration, they're concerned as well on the maintenance schedule, even earlier this year, was in view of the elections, the national elections that were held then. So medyo na-postpone itong mga schedules at talagang hindi na ma-postpone further. Okay.
Okay,
Salamat po.
Miss Maki Pulido of Channel 7.
I'm happy.
Hi, good morning, Sec. Good morning, Yusek. Magtatanong lang sana regarding details lang. The margin na for the generation was already mentioned. Can you give us details? Ano yung margin? Tapos, if you can give us yung details on the general forecast, lalo na pagka dry season na. Gaano magiging kanipis yung supply ng kuryente, lalo na pag dry season na, because you mentioned na you're worried, lalo na pagka tag-init na. And aside from Malampaya, will there be other plants that will be on shutdown?
Maki, ganito. Imbis na magbigay kami ng numbers, kaya namin sabihin sa iyo ngayon kung anong buwan tayo magkakaroon ng manipis talaga yung ating margins. Nakikita namin yan sa mga months ng April hanggang June. Pag sinabi naming manipis, kasi ang tinitingnan naman natin is yung mga reserves natin for regulating, contingency, saka dispatch. And we see that in those 3 months that I mentioned, doon talaga may possibility ng yellow alerts. Pero for the February, wala tayong nakikita na possibility ng yellow alert. Kaya medyo confident kami dito sa February shutdown nitong ating Malampaya plant for maintenance.
Ma'am, aside from USEC, aside from Malampaya, may iba pa ba na magme-maintenance shutdown?
May mga scheduled maintenance shutdown tayo na nakalagay doon sa GOMP na prepare na ng NGCP. Doon nga natin na-base yung forecast natin kung gaano mga yellow alerts na possible for next year.
Ang laging sinasabi, even during the Senate hearings before, ay maiiwasan to or at least magkakaroon ng mapagkukunan daw ng energy or ng supply if NGCP gets firm contracts. Ngayon pa lang, kasama ba yan sa pag-uusap ninyo with NGCP?
Oo naman, Maki. In fact, alam niyo ba, by next year, mag-uumpisa na rin yung tinatawag na trial run ng reserve market. So, chicken and egg kasi dati, no? You do not have enough ancillary services kasi wala pa ding market. Wala pa rin market dahil hindi enough yung ancillary services. So ngayon, pinangunahan na ng government, mag-uumpisa na tayo next year. And the hope is that we will encourage more ancillary services to come in. Pero bukod doon, may mga nakikita din kaming mga planta na mag-uumpisang mag-connect sa mga available capacity ng transmission lines ng NGCP. So nakikita namin na yung mga losses natin sa, well, in summer kasi walang hydro, may mga magpupuno naman ng mga bagong planta na solar na papasok.
Pwede pa po ba ng last? And last
Question, Maki.
You mentioned yellow alerts. So napag-usapan din ng, of course, there will be days na may red alerts sa tag-init.
Yes, meron din.
Thank you, Yusek.
Okay.
Thank you, Maki. Maki, we charge for the third question. Huh?
Thank you, Sek.
Merry Christmas.
This is a question from Lenny. After the February shutdown, will there be other scheduled shutdowns for 2023? And can you further expound the urgency of the maintenance work shutdown? Which you
Well, it's answered.
Yeah. The second question was already answered by Yusek Guevara, but the first one, will there be other scheduled shutdowns for 2023? Meaning referring to the Malampaya.
Malampaya, yun lang talaga ang kanyang maintenance.
Next question from Inquirer. Historically speaking, what is the supply and demand situation in February?
Historically speaking, in February, during the second week, usually mababa, medyo manipis yung ating reserves. Pero hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng yellow alert during February.
Historically. But of course, in what is this, in the summer months, that's why we are hoping that somehow the what is this, the plants will be available, and what is this, the what we refer to as the stranded power, which are power that is already available from Bataan will be delivered to the Luzon grid.
Yeah, to add to that, Secretary, the Hermosa San Jose 500 kV transmission line will be ready by end of March 2023. So, madadagdagan, di na stranded yung mga capacities doon.
Okay, any other question?
Wala na yata, no?
No questions on other topic? Questions?
So,
Okay, there's one here from Bloomberg. Yes, your question, please. You said here other topics.
Hi. Good morning, Secretary.
good morning.
Sir, just a forward-looking question about the President's upcoming trip to China next month.
Yeah.
So, are there any scheduled meetings for you and Chinese officials regarding joint exploration plans in the South China Sea?
Now, as far as joint exploration is concerned, The Department of Foreign Affairs, of course, takes the lead in the negotiations, and any announcement in this regard will be coming from the President and the Department of Foreign Affairs. But we continue to work with all concerned regarding the prospects of having developing the service contracts in the West Philippine Sea.
Sir, there was a recent statement from the president that we have to consider other options aside from government to government. So, if can you enumerate what those other options are, if you can?
Well, this, as I've said, these are in the delicate stages of negotiation, and therefore it is best that we leave it to the President and the Department of Foreign Affairs to talk on this on these topics. But you can be sure that there is close coordination among the different agencies concerned, and that includes the Department of Energy. But I can tell you that we've had discussions with the ambassador of the People's Republic of China on different aspects of cooperation in the energy sector, and that's not only limited to the West Philippine Sea issues. As you know, we continue to encourage the exploration and development in all areas of the country, and we hope that there will be further movement on these as well, which are not necessarily tied with the negotiations or ongoing talks between China and the Philippines. Thank you.
Sir, at the risk of being charged a fee, I'll ask a third question. But suffice it to say, you'll be part of the entourage to China, and
what is this? Because if these are investment, if these are the talks are about investments and so on, the Department of Trade and Industry can very well take care of this. And even in the past few months that we have been here, we have a number of companies from China that have engaged with us and presented their interest in investing in a number of areas, whether renewable and like offshore wind, solar, and other technologies. So so it's not necessary that I have to be there, because this, as I've said, it will be the talks between the presidents of the Philippines and China will be on at the higher policy levels, which then would have to be followed through after their summit.
Thank you,
Okay.
Secretary. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, there's one question here in relation to Malampayan shutdown. This is from the Philippine Star. Historically, do you have estimates for how much is the average increase in electricity rates during shutdown?
No, that's why I said that it would be difficult, because prices change. So if we give you a number that is historical, it may not reflect the realities now. And previous shutdowns did not occur at the time when the Ukraine war took place. So these are at this point that's why we are taking steps to coordinate with all concerned, and Undersecretary Guevara, Undersecretary Garin, and Undersecretary Sales are talking with all the parties concerned, so that we can have a better understanding of the situation, not only in terms of supply but also in terms of prices. But the most important thing, of course, is for us to have power, to have supply. We must protect supply, and we will find ways to deal with the price. I know that the Energy Regulatory Commission is also looking at ways to do this. I think a number of you were present at the press conference that ERC has conducted on an interview with the chair of ERC on this particular point. So we remain open, and since this is a rate-related matter, we are also in constant touch with the Energy Regulatory Commission.
Okay, there's 2 more questions here. Oh, okay, it's 3. Okay, Maki Pulido, how long is the maintenance shutdown?
From February 4 to 18. So let's hope that that schedule, it can be finished earlier or on time. In the past, we've had instances when it got delayed, and that's actually the reason why the October schedule was not the best schedule, because sometimes there are still typhoons or storms, and when it occurs, the period gets to be lengthened. I recall that in previous instances, because of a typhoon, in the middle of the maintenance work, they had to evacuate the people who were doing the maintenance work in the platform. So these are things that have to be considered. Okay.
Okay, question from Elena. Are there new power plants that will come in to address demand during the summer season?
No, in fact, that's why, as we said, there are, since October, there has been an additional 660 megawatts available from Bataan. Then in this year, we have another so many hundreds of megawatts that will also be available, and that's why it is important that when they come on stream, the transmission lines are ready. And Yusek Guevara here can give you some the latest updates on that.
Yeah. For 2023, we have the Hermosa San Jose transmission line, 500 kV, that will come in March. And then this December, yung Maribeles Hermosa transmission line. Tapos because of this, yung sinasabing stranded dun for Luzon, mafi-free up na. And then we have some solar power plants that will be coming in, like Ilocos Norte, Rayat Mexico, Raslag. These are going to come in February and March. And there are available transmission lines for this. So dagdag to sa mga nabanggit ni Secretary.
Okay, so last question.
Actually, the last question, can you give us at least a picture of as to what is the magnitude of impact on power plants and which one of the locations that will be hit most? Luzon grid.
Oh yeah, it's really Luzon grid. And as you know, the total installed capacity of the gas plants supplied by Malampaya is 2,294 megawatts. But the San Gabriel plant of First Gas can run only on natural gas, and therefore the remaining 1,851 megawatts can run on more expensive alternative liquid fuel or condensates or distillates. So thank you very much and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salamat, Gid.
Salamat, Gid.
Okay.